The Tanchjim Origin Legacy Review. Let's talk about it. Now, this is a legacy review because this product is over a year old at this point. When I was looking at Amazon, I found that this was done up almost exactly a year ago. Now, I started my review journey about a year and change ago, so I just had started and did not get sent one, didn't get a loan of one, and I finally secured a loan of one because someone was like, hey, you should check this out. And so that's kind of the story of this. Now, the legendary legacy content isn't just for really old content, but it's to try to give life to IEMs that sometimes will go by the wayside, that sometimes you may or may not review or may not get out in that time frame, and to talk about IEMs that I think are exceptional, noteworthy, and interesting. So we'll talk a little bit about the place of this IEM and the overall grand scheme of things, talk about whether this IEM itself is legendary, and then we'll kind of go from there and let you guys make your own opinions in the poll that will be provided. Now, this is a loaner from Mark from Super Reviews. This is his unit, and I don't have anything else other than the shells and this pretty cable you see on the left-hand side of the screen. Let's start by talking about the shells and build quality of this IEM, and then we'll go from there. The shell of this IEM is a nice shell. It's metallic, it's pure metal. It does have nice build quality, but for me, it doesn't sit in my ear quite well. I really like the titanium shells and the contoured shells that are metallic, but this is neither contoured nor metallic, making that this is just a little bit of a hard IEM for me to fit in my ears. It's also a little bit slippery, and it's the nozzle on this is very nice though. It's kind of a semi-recessed 2-pin cable connector. You can kind of see the metallicness of this IEM chipping away, but overall this is a nice IEM, but I don't prefer the fit of this and do have to try multiple tip swapping and different things to try to really get these to fit in my ears. Now, how does this IEM sound? That's a great question. The bass is a neutral tuning. It's clean, but it provides like a non-exaggerated thump. The mid bass is controlled, but not very boomy. It's not a bassy set, and for those that really want bassy set, it's more of a mid-focused set, and because of that, it's not going to be for everybody. The mid-range is nice. It's the best part of this set, but strangely, the treble on this is actually really good. A lot of people talk about the technical performance of this, which to me, technical performance is kind of a dicey subject, and there are divisive things. Even though I have it on my ranking list, it is one of those things that is considered to be very clean and pristine and has really great resolution, and I have to agree with that. It's a very clean sound, a very engaging sound, and a very nice IEM for its price. It has a lot of things going on with it, and it does have tuning nozzles, but they don't do too much. Let's look at some reviews, and then we'll look at some graphs, and then go from there. All right, part of the requirements of any of my legacy reviews is that they talk about at least 3 reviews of people that have thought or talked about this. And we're going to use multiple sources of this because it is kind of a contested IEM in some regards, and some people talk about it. Again, it's important to know who IEMs are for, and if you are at all a bass head and you're looking for a bassy set, like if your mind is dead set that, oh yeah, this is going to be a bassy set, it's not going to be for you. But the first one we're going to talk about is from Zeos, and I'm going to read you off some of the highlights of this. But he talks about it being the cleanest experience. It feels obsessively neutral, and energy after a quick review for him, he really liked it, and there's a lot of impressive smoothness and almost a perfect IEM. And he talks about it might go down as one of his most favorite IEMs of all time. I normally don't quote Zeos because sometimes Zeos can be a little bit hyperbolic, But I do think it's important to note on this IEM, and if you really listen to his review, there's a real certain feeling about it. The next one who I think has really hyped this IEM quite a bit is Timmy from Tim Tuned, or Timmy from Giz Audio, or Timmy from... You get the gist. He's been on multiple channels, but this is his new one, and he called it one of the best of the last year we had, calling it a great value, one of the best IEMs released, and bang for the buck IEMs. He says he wore it to bed for 2 weeks. It gives this lovely, smooth treble, and you know, part of Timmy's philosophy is that upper treble is very hard to EQ. I can see some valid points with that, but in that this IEM is also a very good IEM to EQ. Another one I want to talk about is Jay's Audio's review. Jay's is a good guy, and he gave a lot of comparisons about comparing this to the Simgot LM. Now the LM, if you're a bass head, does have a great deal amount of more sub bass and does have some great things on it, and it is also like a third of the price, and that's what a lot of people were kind of trying to say, is that maybe this IEM isn't the best value. I think this IEM, but he has a lot of points to say, but by no means does he say that it's a bad IEM, and just something to note. Another one, Mark from Super Reviews, compared this as one of the better sets under about $260, but he still likes the Chopin better, and I kind of have to agree with him. The last thing I wanted to show you is this is the Tanchjim Origin. This is on the Hangout, meaning that it is critical approved, so there's 5 sources for you guys, as this is somewhat of a newer IEM. All right, let's look at the graph of this. You'll notice that it has a nice kind of lean amount, kind of a vocal forward presence. It's not that exciting of a IEM tuning, but we'll look at a few others around this price and kind of talk about them and kind of talk how this fits in the market. If you compare this to modern IEMs, there's the Soft Ears Volume S. I think the Volume S is one of those IEMs that's already kind of hitting up with this year really hard. Like, it's already becoming kind of one of the darlings of 2025, and a lot of people are really liking it. That's something that we'll talk about, but that's really one of my favorite sets out there. And you'll notice some of that similar energy. Some might find parts of the Origin a little bit bright or slightly V-shaped in that mid-treble region. Just something to kind of note in that regard. But if you're in the market right now and you're thinking Volume S or Origin, I definitely would go Volume S, just so you can kind of get. Now, I have reviewed the Tanchjim Bunny on channel. I really like it. I really think it's a nice set. It's one of my favorite budget sets. And so, and you notice how close are these graphs, right? Like, they're basically the same graphs. Like, the Bunny, even though it's a plastic kind of chintzy build quality, for me, it fits really well. It sounds really good, and it's an overall winner for its price, being a wired IEM. And I mean, if you're just looking at that signature and you're not sure whether you like it, the Tanchjim Bunny might be the way to go, as you can kind of experience the signature. Now, does the Origin sound better? Yes, but at the same time, I think sometimes it's good to experience signatures. You can see this FR curves are very similar. Other ones they have from Tanchjim, the Hannah, I didn't really like the Hannah as much as the Origin. I think the Origin's by far a better set. I mean, if you look at another one from Tanchjim, you got the 4U monitoring. It's just a really nice overall tune. The 4U monitoring, I thought it was the 4U IEM is a very nice set, but it didn't seem to have that sparkle, that imagination. It didn't really fit in the price point, where the Origin is a very nice IEM, and not just for its price point, and it is something that I would fully recommend over the 4U. Other sets at this price, I mean, for a lot cheaper, you can get something like the Aria 2, even a little bit cheaper, you can get like the Cadence. And so, getting the Origin for this single dynamic driver with this tune becomes a very challenging thing, as this set tuning is really quite similar to the other ones in here. Personally, if I had to pick, I would go something like the AFU Performer 5+7. To me, that has a little bit more sub bass, a little bit more better extension. and it's just an overall nice sound signature that I am really a huge fan of. For me, that's one of the stock things. Another one that I really like that a lot of people are really into is the new meta-tuned IM, the Odyssey. I think the Odyssey is a really nice set, but you know, for me, like the Odyssey and the Chopin and the Performer 7 are all really pretty close. I think the Origin does present a unique sound signature at its price, and I do think it is a very exquisite set and legendary set. But again, if you're a bass set, even something like the Odyssey or the Performer 7 is going to really satisfy that bass. You might find yourself a little bit sensitive to some brightness here in the Origin, but then again, you might also find yourself a fantastic value for its price. You know, if we rank this guy up, I think its bass is fine, its mid-range is good, its highs are nice and not overly detailed, but what's really great about it is that it images really, really well. It has a lot of pristineness. Now, it doesn't have thumpiness, so for bass tracks and certain times it's not going to sound great. It doesn't have this thunderous, deep, rich bass about it, but it's also really a solid IEM for its price, a nice dynamic driver. But for those that really like sub bass or mid bass or bass in general, and that don't really want a mid-focus set, this is going to be kind of a poor value, and you might find other IEMs at a much cheaper price that you like. But for me, it fits right around at about an A+, which for me is a nice solid set. And really the only one that I rank higher than that, that's like under that price or right around it, is the Performer 7. I think it's right on the same playing field as the Odyssey or even the Chopin. And so like for me, the Chopin will represent an even better value, and I probably would recommend that, but there's reasons to get one of the others depending on what you want. And even something like the Dyna Quattro, if you're a bass head, that's going to be my recommendation for so many of you. Has such great tuning and bass and thunderability. Or even if you scroll up a little bit, the brand new darling that we were talking about, the Volume S. So again, while this IEM is competitive, I think it's at an interesting point in the market where it's I think it's still one of those to consider under 300 now that it's been out a year and I finally got a chance to review it. I do think it is a legendary set, but maybe it's not one of the greatest sets of all time, and maybe it's not the best value. The Tanchjim Origin is one of those IEMs that has a uniqueness, a specialness, a clarity to it that not many do, especially at this price point. For those that are seeking that clarity and that pristineness, you're not gonna find it from many other sets at this price. This, in that regards, for a mid-range style tuning, does represent a great value, and I think this is a very noteworthy legendary set of sorts. This certainly had a lot of kind of hype, almost a hate train on it on release, with a lot of reviewers not liking it, and it was a very divisive and interesting release in our times. This is the newest one we're doing to our Legacy series, and I wanted to say that I know there's going to be some haters to this, but I think it's important for us to think about what IEMs are like after they've been in the market for a year. Do people still talk about them? Heck, people were asking me about this the other day. So in that regards, I think this is a very interesting IEM and a very lovely IEM, and it gets a full recommendation for the caveats I've said. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Oh, you're expecting a teaser for our next video. Well, we don't have that kind of money. What are you expecting? One of those store reviewers to show up in a saucy little leather number? Go. Oh, I can tell you one thing. We are going to have a collab video. We have no idea what it's going to be. Probably Kryn, maybe Chris, or Joyce. Don't deny it. She's got range. Go. Get out of here. Go.
Go!
Go.
Go on with you!